we have word that LSU have a few impending transfers coming to the team. We've heard word about 1, 2, maybe possibly 3 transfers out of the program. But from what we've been hearing, the news shouldn't really trouble LSU Tigers fans too much by the identities of who the players are. But what you really must know is that LSU have reinforcements coming in, and one of them we're hearing is Logan Diggs. We're hearing that Logan Diggs is talking Frank Wilson, supposedly as well Nick Brissett as well, and they're really working on him. Basically, anyone who recruited him in from the prior staff who may still exist at LSU is helping. But really, this is all a new thing with Frank Wilson going full bore for LSU, and they're doing a way better job of recruiting Logan Diggs than the first time around, let me just tell you that. Logan Diggs should have never left the state of Louisiana, especially in the class he was in, especially considering our dearth of really good standout Louisiana running backs for a year or two there from the classes. He's absolutely stunning and didn't completely fulfill everything he probably wanted to accomplish at Notre Dame. But what I'm loving, what I'm seeing, is really, really intriguing to me about Logan Diggs. Because what I'm hearing is he wants to come to LSU, hell or high water. He wants to be a Tiger. Okay? I'm hearing that he has other offers, but I'm hearing that the biggest pull for him is to come back home. There's things that are pulling him home, kind of magnetizing him home, but really, the wonder of playing for LSU, the home state school, like that can kind of get lost in the NIL era. But it means something when you're from Louisiana. It means something. It may not mean something when you're in Florida or Georgia or Ohio or Michigan, but it means something when you're in Louisiana. Even if you've been somewhere for 2 years, 3 years, like we've seen with Greg Brooks Jr., Joe Fuchsia, those guys wanted to come back, hell or high water. And so you look at Logan Diggs, you look at some of the messages put out by like Coach Jordan Arsamon, Sherman Wilson, planting those seeds, hammering those messages home that they've already been verbally expressing to Logan, but then we're going to back it on social media too. We're going to be a full court press here, and that's what we're seeing. LSU aren't completely comfortable with their running back room, which tells me that maybe things are more up in the air with John Emery Jr. than what we even thought. And either Armani Goodwin might be transferring from the school. We will find out within the next hours, should be, considering the portal has already closed, but usually sometimes, you find out days later. So LSU could be without 2 of the 6 running backs in this room. The other 2 being freshmen. So you'd have Josh Williams, Noah Cain, and then Trey Holly and Caleb Jackson. Does that fill you with a lot of, does that fill you with a lot of confidence? I think both freshmen are really talented, and both can complement each other outstandingly well. But to put the onus on the freshman, first year straight out of the gates, to run behind that offensive line, I'm not so sure if that's what you should be doing. I think we should sprinkle those guys in, but at the same time, we got to be depending on Josh Williams and Noah Cain, right? John Emery Jr. should be right there in the mix as well, right? John Emery Jr. arguably should be the unquestioned number one running back for this team. Just on talent alone, pedigree alone, history at LSU alone. The fact that, he's a national champion at LSU. That guy scored 4 touchdowns as part of the 2019 team. He even scored against Oklahoma in the semifinal game. But what people don't remember is that game where Joe Burrow literally said, get this guy the fuck out of the game. And then no one listened to Joe. And Joe literally, which is like the biggest cardinal sin of the 2019 LSU Tigers, is taking a timeout, right? That offense never wanted to stop. That offense was like a meth head at a NASCAR race. Like, it was just full go. Pedal to the metal. But Joe literally was like, no. I'm calling a timeout. Get him the fuck out of this game right now. Joe was like screaming, like, no. And he called the timeout himself. Doesn't give a damn what the team thinks. He's calling a timeout. He wants it right. And he knows it's not going to be right with John Emery Jr. back there because he missed a blocking assignment. Joe almost got hurt. So, with that in mind, John Emery Jr. has had that checkered history, but he's got so much upside. He's got so much raw ability and so much feverish talent. You can't overlook this kid. If John Emery Jr. can just get the academics on par, he might as well be the starter for this team. He's that good. And as we saw last year, he can be one of the most important players on this team. With his big touchdown catch to open that game against Alabama, big touchdown catch to open the game against Florida, big rushing touchdowns throughout the season. I believe he had 8 total touchdowns. Was it 6 rushing and 2 catching? I think I had that right. You just saw a lot of things you always want to see from John Emery pop this last year. But man, oh man, Logan Diggs is sitting there. Logan Diggs is leaving Notre Dame. And what better way to really, really, really rub the grease in Notre Dame's face than taking a Louisiana running back back to the state. And from what we're hearing, it looks like, with things being up in the air, with things being uncertain, LSU wants something certain at running back. Logan Diggs might be that answer. Logan Diggs might be that extra juice in that running back room. We also know that there's an offensive lineman who is on tap to join the Tigers as well. We will be filling you in with as much information as we can release when we can release it. And we'll be sharing everything that we know when we know it. Have a good one, guys, gals, and everyone.